Welcome back, everyone. This is GTA Failer. In our last video, we tackled the Ken mission Back Alley Brawl. This video is about the next Ken mission. It's called Jury Fury. Completing this mission awards the player $400 and unlocks the final Ken mission, which is called Riot. Completing this mission also unlocks the first assassination mission from Mr. Black, which is called Roadkill. Sonny Forelli continues to hassle Ken Rosenberg here for the money that was stolen during that drug deal gone bad in the opening cutscene of this game. And now we have to do them a favor, otherwise they're going to come down and take care of us, not in a pleasant way.
And now those Guidos say we gotta do them a favor.
You mean I gotta do them a favor?
Oh, of course that's what I mean. Do I look like I can intimidate a jury? I couldn't intimidate a child, and believe me, I've tried.
Sonny Forelli's cousin Giorgio was tried for fraud. Ken Rosenberg was Giorgio's lawyer, and things did not go well. So Ken thinks that it's a sure thing that the jury is going to convict and send Giorgio Forelli to prison for 5 years. And so now Sonny Forelli is saying we need to do him a favor because we messed up that drug deal and lost his money and lost his drugs. And so the idea here is that Tommy is going to intimidate the jurors and make sure that they vote not guilty. So here I'll show you my vanilla attempt at this mission. It says go and intimidate the jurors, but don't kill them, and the hammer might be useful. It's not required to take the hammer, but in this vanilla attempt I will. And you can see that there are 2 squares, well, 1 square and 1 triangle on the map. You can go to those 2 spots in either order. I'll skip the drive to the northern one first. And then we just need to inflict enough damage on this car to get a cutscene to happen. Now you can keep whacking the car in the same spot over and over again, but I'll go around and just show you the different parts of the car that you can whack. But it takes a lot of hits with this hammer before the car has sustained enough damage, and we get this cutscene where we intimidate the juror and remind him that Giorgio is innocent. And then we'll head to the other spot on the map, that yellow square. And again, I'll cut the drive. And in this case, I will wake up the other juror, the one with the pink arrow on his head, by punching him in the face. And then that will start a cutscene where he runs into a Spanned Express truck. Boom. And then he's just waiting there. And we will listen to him talk while we smash up his car, because I really like some of his lines.
Understand? Good.
I appreciate how when the juror said, please someone help me, it just happened that there was a cop right there who calmly walked around the car that I was beating with a hammer. Now I'll show you that you can use other weapons besides the hammer to damage this car enough. And you'll notice here that Tommy says something different from the first time. You know he's not guilty is what he says here, but the first clip I showed you in my vanilla attempt, he said something like, you remember Giorgio, you remember he's innocent? So a couple of variations on the same theme for what Tommy says. And technically you're not supposed to destroy the car, but even with the rocket launcher it works. I guess the rocket launcher doesn't instantly destroy the car, but it gets it to an HP like right at 0 for a moment before the car explodes. So here's some Molotovs, and eventually the car gets damaged enough. So lots of different choices here. The hammer is probably the slowest one. The speed strat is to use a shotgun. It only takes like, I don't know, 2 or 3 shots. The car here is locked until you have given it enough damage to start that cutscene. And then once the cutscene is over, that car is unlocked and you can drive it. It's not special in any way. So here, the guy should have died in the explosion, but magically he healed up. And there we go. He's safe and sound, even though we used the minigun against him. We fail if we use the minigun too much and kill the juror before he has a chance to get out of his exploding car. And we also fail if we just shoot the juror. Note that we don't have an opportunity to shoot the juror to the north, only this one to the south. Okay, then I decided to start pushing this car with my car, smashing it up a bunch, seeing if that, kind of give it enough damage in the way the game is expecting that we can proceed to this cutscene, and we can. and then I decided to push the car so that it wasn't in the usual spot. Like before I wake up this juror here, I'm going to push the car out of his radius just to see what happens. And it turns out it's quite slow to push this car. And again, I wish I could just get in and drive it, like a half a block to the south, but it's locked until you've passed the mission. Okay, so now we've put it just a couple 100 feet south of where this guy's expecting it. We will wake him up, punch, and then he is just dumbfounded. He's just sitting here, not knowing what to do because his car is not in the usual spot. Punch him again, no impact. So that means I got to go back here. And again, I tried getting in the car, still locked. So I push this car. This is in like, I don't know, quadruple speed or something. And eventually it'll get close enough so that it's in his radius and then he'll get in. So then I was curious what would happen when he gets in and tries to drive it away, because we know that there's that programmed in collision, but now he's on the wrong side of the road here. Let's see what happens. All right, so he's going to drive and then there's a collision. The Spand Express stops on nothing. And why did he stop? Well, did he hit this wall here? No, he hit nothing. He's just programmed to drive forward, 15 feet or whatever that is, and the Spand Express is programmed to stop. So they're independent. It's not actually a collision between these two vehicles. And then he acts like normal when you damage his car.
Remember, guilty is a dirty word.
Okay, then I wanted to see what would happen if I put my own car in the way, and I'm going to stand on my car, so he's not going to really be able to drive out onto the street. So you hit his car with one bullet, that wakes him up. And then my car disappears, and then I get run over. This was a painful science experiment we just conducted here. Where am I? And here we are. Oh, okay, we're right between the two vehicles. All right, so it despawned our car just so that he would be able to get to his spot. So what if we smash into his car with a tank? No problem. That's pretty intimidating. What if we shoot this car with the tank turret and bullet? Also intimidating. Guilty is a dirty word. That's another line from Tommy here for this cutscene. Now I'm going to play around with a cheat code. I just typed in Big Bang, which destroys all vehicles on the map. Just wanted to show you what that thing does. And now I will start the mission, and I'll type Big Bang, which will destroy both the jurors' vehicles, which will allow me to pass the mission. It will actually teleport me. First, it teleports me here to the southern juror, although you can't really see me except for just a second. And then it teleports me to the northern juror. You can see his car is blown up there. And then here we are. So like the game didn't keep me over there at Ken's. It physically put me here because of that cutscene. So what happens if I damage the northern car first and we get this cutscene here, and then I use the Big Bang cheat code, which will destroy the southern car. So after we use this cheat code, we will be teleported to the southern car for that unskippable cutscene, and then we will end up just down here at this southern location. So interesting that the Big Bang cheat code teleports you, or I guess the cutscenes physically teleport Tommy to one spot and or the other spot. Okay, I spent a long time trying to push the southern juror's car into the water. I thought for sure the water would damage the car once I pushed this car far enough into the water, and it would damage it enough to make it so that we get that cutscene and I would be teleported to the southern juror's spot. And I thought that I would already have been damaged and I'd have been teleported by now. I mean, the car is mostly underwater, but for some reason, this car is not damaged by the water. I don't get it. I guess the Rockstar programmers were not expecting anybody to spend like 8 minutes in real time pushing this car into the water from its original location. But here we are. And that car is fully submerged and it's fine. So I guess I'll just destroy it with my minigun. And then we'll get the cutscene, which will, of course, teleport us to the southern juror's location. But I was surprised. I thought for sure pushing this thing into the water would get us to this cutscene. And here we are at the southern juror's spot. So now you can see that I've pushed this southern juror's car into the corner, so there's no chance he can get out onto the road in order to interact with that Spand Express truck. But the Spand Express truck still acts like it's collided with something, even though there's nothing there. And then this guy's just hanging out in the corner. So I thought it'd be ironic because I made it so that the Spand Express truck didn't damage this juror's car. I thought it'd be ironic if I get into the Spand Express truck and use it to damage the juror's car. So I'll skip a couple of the smashy smashies that I did between these two vehicles, but eventually you smash it enough and you get the cutscene. Next, I'm going to shoot the Spanned Express a bunch to catch it on fire and make it explode. Note my Faggio is going to be on fire at the start of this cutscene, but as usual, cutscenes put out all fires on the map. And so the exploding Spanned Express was good enough to damage the juror's vehicle. Now I will be in a car that I put in the way as opposed to standing on top of the car. My car is despawned. I have no earthly idea where I am at this moment because I was in the car that was despawned, and it just moved the entire car and me a little bit away. Here's my final attempt at this mission, and my challenge is the same as it was in my last mission, the back alley brawl mission, where I didn't want to damage the chef at all with my fists or guns, and here I will not damage the jurors' cars with my melee weapons or my guns. We will get the police officers to do our dirty work just like in the last video. So we invite this officer to join us over at the first juror's car. Come and follow me. I will lead the way. So I'll show some of this in fast forward because it takes a long time for the police officers to not destroy, but damage the jurors' vehicles enough while they're aiming at me and accidentally hitting the juror's car. And while we watch this attempt, I will share some information about a word that I didn't know from that opening cutscene for this mission. In that cutscene, Ken used the word Guido to refer to the Forelli crime family in Liberty City. I looked up the word Guido on Wikipedia, and it said, quote, "At one point the term was used more generally as a disparaging term for Italians and people of Italian descent. More recently, it has come to refer to working-class urban Italian Americans who conduct themselves in an overtly macho manner or belong to a particular working-class urban Italian American subculture." Eventually, this police officer shoots the red car enough to damage it and get the cutscene, although I did not appreciate his technique of smacking into me repeatedly with his butt into my face. I think he should be booked for assault. I'll skip the drive to the southern juror's car, but it's the same idea. I'm just trying to lure some police over there to get them to damage the southern juror's car without me having to do any work. I'll point out that if you decide to damage the southern juror's car before waking him up, then the cutscene with the Spanned Express just won't happen. It'll just jump right to the part where he's running away intimidated. All right, so as we wait for the police to do my work, let me read a little bit more from the wiki about Ken Rosenberg. Ken successfully graduated as a lawyer, although he is suspected of cheating on his exams. He established his own business called K. Rosenberg & Co., setting up the firm in Vice City with the company's office being inside the Hotel Harrison in Washington Beach, which is exactly where we pick up all of the Ken missions. He started working for the Corelli crime family at some point in 1978, aged 25. And again, he appears in Vice City Stories a little bit, and he's a major character in San Andreas. So what am I doing here in the rest of this video? Well, I am taking this Spanned Express. It is a kind of unique vehicle. I don't know if I can call it that. I mean, it doesn't have any special properties. It doesn't have a special paint job, but the only time that this vehicle appears in this game is during this mission, and then during the next Ken mission, which is called Riot. And we'll tackle that mission in the next video. So is it a unique vehicle? I don't know. I'm just going to grab it and shove it in here into the southernmost garage that I have, which meant I had to clear out the unique white-colored Infernus from the previous mission where we got it from Lance. But then some jerk came and committed a Grand Theft Auto against me, which is not cool at all. So anyway, just got to do some vehicle playing around with here, some swapping, and we'll put the Spanned Express in the southernmost garage because that's the only garage on this island where it will fit. It's too tall for all the other garages that Tommy owns, and then we'll drive the unique white-colored Infernus up to the garage that we have at El Swanco Casa or whatever that place is called. And then there's also going to be two post-mission phone calls that we will listen to. And I'll read just a tiny bit more about Ken from the wiki. Rosenberg is undoubtedly heavily influenced by Sean Penn's character Dave Kleinfield from the 1993 movie Carlito's Way. I don't think I've seen that one. And then I'm not really going to talk about the San Andreas stuff much, but I'll just point out that during the San Andreas mission called The Meat Business, Ken Rosenberg will sometimes yell out, "This is so exciting, Tommy. It's just like old times," apparently still missing his days working alongside Tommy Vercetti in Vice City. In Vice City, Ken is not seen outside of full motion cutscenes except for the mission in the beginning. As we check out this cutscene from Sonny Forelli, where we try to convince him that we are not an unreliable person, I'll read from the Brady Games guide about Ken Rosenberg. A 33-year-old high-strung lawyer, Ken has been trying to cultivate his relationship with his mob, quote, friends, up north since 1978. Hence, he was overly enthusiastic to pick up their men at the airport for the big drug deal. That's referencing the opening cutscene in this game. Things went bad, and now he has to save face with the Liberty City mob or suffer the consequences. Look at the mini map both before and after this upcoming phone call with Mr. Black. He will give us a new string of assassination contract missions. One piece of trivia from the wiki about Giorgio Forelli, the guy who is being tried and probably going to be convicted of fraud if we don't intimidate these jurors. Giorgio and Franco are the only named Forelli family members in the GTA series who are not confirmed to have been killed. Yeah, Giorgio survives, and apparently that's pretty rare among the Forellis. If you have any memories of the mission Jury Fury, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.